Good morning, everybody. It's really an honor to be here with you all this morning, coming to you from Vallejo, California. I know Susan is familiar with the area that I'm in. My message this morning is really inspired by my immediate environment. What I mean to say is, I live right in the historic downtown part of Vallejo, right on a corner in a little studio apartment condo building. And I'm sure, like, for many of you, downtown or the main streets, they're changing this time of the year. Uh, so many lights are going up, the obvious Christmas decorations. Many of the stores are playing holiday music at this time, and the festivities are constant, and it is a really joyous time. But one thing that I've noticed, and this is something that I think makes it a unique experience to live where I live, is that there are a number of folks in our community who are unhoused that live in our immediate downtown area. And many of them live in particular parts of the main street near the library. But during a lot of these festivities, they are forced to pack up their various tents and become almost nomadic during this time of the year, displaced. And it's difficult to see because the contrast of the joy of the holiday season is very visible, but the struggles that they are dealing with, the struggles that many people deal with during this time of the year, is also very clear. And so I reflect on the gospel reading that we heard from Luke, the Beatitudes, something that we see in the Gospel of Matthew as well. Blessed are you who are hungry, you will be filled. Thinking of the awareness of our neighbors in this time of year where there is such a change in the daylight. It's darker earlier, contrasted with the light that we just had during the summer brightness. And so I think about the change not only in the light, but in the temperature. Granted, I've been told that the Bay Area weather during the winter is not as cold as other parts of the country. So we are lucky in that regard. But the drop in temperature, it makes the environment more noticeable in our neighbors who are having a difficult time. It's just such a contrast, the joy. But as a result of living in this particular neighborhood, I've come to know some of the folks that are struggling here. There's a particular woman, she has a nickname, Mother Mary, which I think is rather fitting for this time of the year, the Virgin Mary. And Mary lives in a tent just a few blocks from my front door. And I was just speaking to her a few nights ago, uh, and she admitted to me that when she first met me, she was uncertain if she wanted to speak with me. I would walk by and I would just say hello. I hope you're doing well, or hello, good evening, just very casual. And I've known her now for almost a year. And she told me a few nights ago that when she first spoke with me, she was hesitant. She wasn't sure who I was. And then after a few hellos as I passed by, she finally felt something change within her. It went from nervousness or hesitance to hearing me say, hello, I hope you're doing well, or do you need anything? And she finally said that something greater than herself shifted within her, and she decided to speak with me. And now I chat with her when I'm walking by her tent. I ask her if she needs anything. We have a conversation. But she described this shift as being beyond her, greater than her, something joyous awoken within her. She described it as almost like leaping for joy that she had made this connection with myself, someone who just wanted to say hello. Whereas, as she told me, most people who walk by her tent ignore her, don't say anything to her, don't try to make that connection, that human connection. And so when I look at the words of Swedenborg, a long reading, I know from Swedenborg, that eternal joy, that feeling, that emotion that comes up from within, comes from a deep place from the divine. It connects us. And I think that that connection of joy, of being able to communicate with each other, support each other, be there for those whom we know well, friends, to strangers who are our neighbors. That emotion, that link is so powerful. And we're lucky if we can have that connection. So I reflect during this time of this, of Advent, of joy, of this season, where maybe for some of us, we take for granted the family or the friends or the coming together of the holiday. And I really am thinking and have been thinking of those who are struggling, those who maybe are ignored on the fringe of society, and how important it is to be reminded of the connections we can make with them, even if it's just a smile, even if it's just asking, "Hi, how are you? Do you need anything this evening?" So it's my prayer, my hope, we can reflect on the experience of joy and how, with our actions and our words, we can stir the joy within others. Amen.